Carrie Demashki.
Here.
Cindy Byteam. Here. Beverly Roush. Here. And Mary Beth Shaw.
Here.
I have proof of posting. Can you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is great. We have people here. It's always exciting to have people here for our meeting. In light of that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda, moving the public input up to just prior to the reports. Do I have a motion for that approval?
So moved. I'll second it. You got it.
Thank you, Jim and Bev. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Barb? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Bev?
Yes.
Mary Beth? Yes. And I'll say yes as well. Do we have a motion to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes of August 28th, 2017?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Gary.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Is there any discussion? Thank you. All right, hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Barb? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Bev?
Yes.
Mary Beth? Yes. I'll say yes as well. Do I have a motion to approve the payroll accruals and disbursements as stated in the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Bev.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Any discussion?
Yep, I had a question.
Yes.
The rights to Mary Poppins, is that common?
Yes,
That's about comparable to what
it's
they all are?
expensive.
Yes.
And
The
does,
royalties are expensive.
yeah, does the drama club get reimbursement coming from anywhere, or is that just strictly like a payout and then?
I think they offer the ticket sales to
Ticket sales,
pretty much
yeah.
cover it.
Okay, just curious.
I can follow up with
I was just curious.
Cheryl for more
Yeah.
details of the accounting.
If they ever get ahead.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question too.
Absolutely.
The summer school refunds, what was that for?
So those were fees, course fees that students had paid and either not actually
Oh, yeah.
completed or taken the course, and these refunds of course fees for summer school.
Awesome. Any other questions? Otherwise, we have a motion on the table. Jim?
Yes.
Barb? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Bev?
Yes.
Mary Beth? And I'll say yes as well. Well, wonderful. Well, we are up to the public input then. So thank you all for coming. I welcome any time people to come, so this is great. We provide a public input time for 2 minutes at each person that has signed up. So I will go ahead and just go down the list here and provide you that opportunity to speak. It may not be something that we are able to make an action at this time, but we will certainly take the time to listen and follow up as needed going forward. So Dana G.
Sure. My name is Dana G, and I'm here representing the Wisconsin Heights Players Theater. We're a community group. We have 3rd through 8th grade working on a fall production. They signed up over the summer and now have been made aware that they will have sports on Wednesday nights. And I feel like Wisconsin Heights Players has been in existence since before my daughter was in 3rd grade and now is graduating. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how long it's been around. And I feel like we've always worked around sports schedules and finally found Sunday afternoons and Wednesday evenings after school. And now the kids are back to, oh, I can't come or I can't take that role now. And so I really wish they would consider not having sports every single night of the week. Now on Saturdays as well, just due to our new football team. I feel like everything is revolving around sports. And I think after school, like high school career, college career, comes life. I think kids need more opportunities in their life than sports. I really wish you could consider that.
Thank you, Dina. Samantha and Elizabeth, you signed up together on a line. You guys want to speak together?
Samantha coming up. This is my daughter, and they dragged her along today because she is affected by the change in allowing an optional practice on Wednesday for sports. And she will not be able to attend because, yes, she already had prior engagements that we made prior to being informed that sports were going to start taking place on Wednesday. And I just wanted to give her the floor to begin with to let her tell us what she personally feels about it.
I don't really like it because I'm missing out on volleyball and I have to get my uniform and stuff, and I am missing plays on Wednesday because of having to go to my other event, and I will have to learn them later, and that will be hard because I don't have that much time to do it because we have other things to do, and we have a game coming up pretty soon. So I have to learn those plays because I want to be a setter, and most of the plays are 4 setters. And so if I don't learn them, then I won't be able to do that.
Great job.
I wrote mine down because I forget things, so I'm just going to give you guys a copy of it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, so as I said, I'm Elizabeth Hurling. I have 3 kids at Heights. One in 9th, 7th, and 5th grade. I moved into the area, I think like 17 years ago. And I don't think there's been any middle school activities on Wednesdays since I've been here, other than maybe in service of special events that have been planned. Wednesday was a day that allowed the middle schoolers to explore interests that the school is unable to provide or schedule other events. Children could go to dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, they could go fishing, have 4-H meetings, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, horseback riding, hunting, karate, piano lessons, play practices, religious activities, or have just a visit with their grandma and grandpa, to just name a few. I believe that by changing the policy, you are not only segregating the children that cannot attend the practices on Wednesday, but you are influencing them to limit their exposure to outside activities. I understand that the change was approved to provide an additional opportunity for the children, and I believe the intent is not to discriminate against the athletes that can participate in the optional Wednesday practices. But I'm roughly going to quote from the school handbook on attendance by replacing class with practice. There's a high correlation between attendance and achievement. It is impossible to make up a missed practice, especially when the emphasis is on discussion, teamwork, or solving problems in a group setting. The richness of a team experience simply cannot be duplicated by doing assignments on your own. I agree with the school's policy on attendance, and I believe this attendance policy also pertains to team sports. I imagine most coaches feel the same. Team sports promote a sense of achievement, equality, and camaraderie. By repetitively holding a team practice with a portion of the team missing, you're negating the synergy the team is trying to create and undermining the inherent responsibility and obligation that each player has to attend practice and be part of the team. I understand that not all children have the opportunity for activities that are not provided by the school, but having a day off from sporting events conceivably does not have an adverse impact. Wednesdays off allow some unstructured time to rest and relax, catch up on homework, visit with friends and family. However, if the school is looking to provide middle school children enrichment opportunities on Wednesday, I would suggest some alternatives to optional team sports practice. The school sponsors clubs could meet on Wednesday, such as art, chess, and Spanish club. There could be an open gym with all the athletic coaches supervising. Physical or weight room training could be offered, or we could arrange to have a guest speaker at the school. Providing a day off from sporting activities in middle school is beneficial to all. As indicated on the school's website page about Wisconsin Heights schools, the school recognizes that a fundamental part of a student's life is what happens outside the classroom. I would encourage the school to reconsider their decision and allow the children to develop their abilities of all areas of accomplishment, intellectual, artistic, social, and physical, by allowing them Wednesdays to do so. Reverend Barry Horse.
Hurts, but that's
Hurts.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I get that all the time. I have basically 2 questions. I'm the pastor for Mount Lutheran, and I have to admit I'm kind of a new guy in town. I've been here a year and a half. But does the school have a policy right now on Wednesday evenings? As far as
There is no policy.
there is no policy stuff. Okay, so then my second question to that is, so if this happens with volleyball, is this going to be open for basketball, baseball, football?
So this is an optional event. Wednesdays are optional for all students, you know, so that they can attend their other items. So it was provided as an option for the kids to get an extra day of practice.
Will that be offered to the football, the basketball, baseball?
It's not just for volleyball.
Okay.
It's all sports.
So
It's all
for
sports, yes.
So I'm just, this is a concern to me because that's when we have our confirmation program, and I was not made aware of this until I heard from Liz that this was happening. I would have appreciated if you would let us have some knowledge of that, since you knew that we had that, I assume. We used to bus from the school here.
Thank you. And we also have Reverend Rob Nelson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm pastor at New Heights Church, and a couple concerns for me. The big one for me is that optional sports, for anybody who's played team sports, and I've played team sports all my life, optional practices aren't optional. That's the reality. And I appreciate that the idea is to give some extra opportunities, but optional practices quickly become a litmus test for who gets to play. And the reality is that students just miss too much when they miss practices. And when the rest of the team is meeting and you're not there, as we heard over here, a setter missing those practices misses something really important. That will affect her ability to be a part of the team and participate. So I think what, to me, sounds like a good idea to give extra opportunity actually ends up harming students that have a well-rounded schedule and are wanting to be involved in other things. And middle school is that time when students need to be doing a lot of stuff. We don't want to get those kids locked into one thing right away when they are 12 years old. They need to be experiencing a lot of things. Wisconsin Heights Players, a couple of my kids are in it. It's an incredible opportunity for them. And to be able to do drama and be a part of gymnastics and other things that they do is very, very important. And just understand that there's no such thing in team sports as optional practices, especially in season. It's just not optional. And if you miss, you're going to lose playing time and you're losing something important with the team. I like the idea of maybe having the gym, the weight room open, or other ways where students can do physical things. But there's no such thing as an optional practice. So let's not call it that because it just becomes unfair to everyone, because those families are put in a real tough situation. Parents suddenly have to fight with their kids about which thing they should go to, and it becomes a really tricky, difficult thing. It would affect our Wednesday night activities at our church as well. We don't start our official classes till 6, but we do have mealtime where the whole families come. We have up to 4 generations that eat together on Wednesday nights. That would be pretty tricky for them as well to decide what to do. So, thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Really appreciate you speaking. We will certainly take this information and review it as a board and you know, discuss further with coaches, discuss further with Rich, and we'll hear more from you. So thank you. Alrighty, moving on. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so, board president, I don't have a lot to say. School is now in session. It's crazy. It's September. That's all I have to say, I guess. We're off and running, and it seems like we're off to a really great start. I've heard great things from teachers, and, so I think we're doing good.
Good win by football?
Yes,
Volleyball?
yes, great wins.
Cross country, you did good job?
Yes. Starting off good? Yes. So district administrator, you're off. I don't know how you wanna.
Yeah, I guess
do
because this is new territory for us, I guess I am a man of the people, so I'm gonna ask the people if they would like to go first, or if they want me to go, or what do you prefer?
Dale said he'd like to go first.
You bet, I'll go
That is
first.
so nice of you,
You
Dale.
bet.
Thanks, Dale.
Somebody else.
Well, did put there's a report there for you, so I'm gonna follow that a little bit, but how am I doing, Mary Beth? Can you hear me okay?
Thank you.
Okay, good. Great start to the school year. I'll start with our in-service days. Our meetings went very well to start the school year. Staff did an excellent job with our Tuesday student meeting schedule. New for us this year, our EAs were here on that second day of in-service, and it really made a big difference. And I want to just give a shout out to our special ed teachers. They were impressive with the information that they provided, particularly with our students with IEPs, very thoughtful, and it just helped those kids in particular get off to a good start to the school year. Love that change that we made, having our EAs come and made a big difference. So also just thank you to the maintenance staff. Mazo School looks wonderful. A couple of things I'll just point out, updates at Mazo School. Third grade bathrooms, particularly the boys' bathroom on the third grade wing was in pretty rough shape. We got a new door, we got new sinks put in there. The walls were redone, there were some new tiles that were put in. Really needed a bit of a renovation, and we did that over the summer. Really helped out. We added some cubbies to our fourth grade wing, just the size of classes. In the past, some of our fourth graders had to actually go around the corner outside of the classroom, so we had 8 additional cubbies made. We moved some cubbies down from 5th grade into the 4th grade hallway. So all those 4th graders are there in the hallways by the classroom. It looks a little different, but it looks great. Love it. Very homey feel in that hallway. Used to be, it's a little more closed in, but I think that was a nice change. Probably we'll have to add more cubbies in the future, just with some of the bigger classes coming.
That's another problem they have.
Yeah, really wanted to point that out. Let's see. New technology. Scott and Dan did a great job. We got some new smart boards, some other technology in and around the school. Our computer labs were updated with new computer tables, and we restructured our computer labs. Deb will probably talk about that too at Black Earth as well. So our computer labs really look great. We actually have the kids all around the outside of the rooms. A nice upgrade there too. It's a noticeable difference when you come into our lab, so it's nice that the students have that as well. Again, I've mentioned this before, but a lot of professional development for our teachers. I know the Mazo teachers over the summer, many of them were in on their own over the summer, but many of them put in countless hours before the school year even started, doing a lot of planning, a lot of training, just getting ready for the school year. Just really proud of that, so did a nice job there. Highlighted our school improvement plan for this year, and our focus is on literacy. And I think you may have heard about this a little bit, but we're really going to look at our relationship, just the balance of instruction and the learning between our vulnerable students and the general education classroom. Particularly, we're going to look at our student intervention pull-out groups with a focus on our core literacy instruction or the reteaching that we're doing in the classroom. And then with an emphasis on our guided reading practice. And that's where our teachers get in small groups and they work with the kids. We're just going to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Not only what we're doing in our regular classrooms, but with our intervention groups, special education groups, any small groups of kids that we are working with. We want to make sure we're on the same page. We also want to make sure we're collaborating and all the teachers know what's going on. If kids are leaving their classroom, what's happening and does it match up with what we're doing in those core lessons. So that's a big task for us. That'll be part of our strategic planning all year, and our teachers are really looking forward to that. Let's see here. Well then, once the kids got there, just a wonderful first day of school. I'm always excited and love the first day of school. I always get excited about that. We had our traditional all-school assembly to kick off the year, introduce all the new staff members, and we finished traditionally with our Sasha dance. And you just start playing that music and all the kids know what to do, and it's a great way for some of our third graders to match up with our fifth graders. We coach some of our fifth graders to grab those third graders. It's just a really fun way to get the year started. We taught our PBIS lessons, cafeteria, bathroom lessons, classroom expectations, and then Mr. Austin does a really good job. Their first Phi-Ed class of the year, he takes the kids outside and he goes around to all the different stations and teaches the expectations on our playground. So we hit everything that the first couple of days, or at least the first week, school with our PBIS. So with that, just looking forward to another great school year, and great to be off and running. I always joke, I love when the kids come back, because I now have friends back in the building, so all my friends are back. So it's always fun for me. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I have a question. When you upgraded the bathroom, this sounds really trivial, but did you remember there used to be 2 faucets, one hot, one cold? Did they make any switches in that? Because the kids used to burn themselves all the time.
One sink has 2 faucets, one sink has 1. So I'm not sure how that played out, but yes, so it's, I actually thought of you when I saw that, so.
Second sink's in the budget for next year.
That's good.
But truly, that bathroom, you know, last spring, I went in there with Bill and I said, Bill, we have to do something here. It just, and they made a commitment. I think, you know, we had somebody come in to install the door. We had a plumber come in with the sinks, but really the maintenance staff did most of the work with just, you know, patching the holes and getting it painted, and it's a big difference. The door itself, just, you know, what a simple thing, but it's like a new bathroom.
If I recall, Dale, that bathroom was built in 1956. It was it was the upgrade in 1956. And in 78 with the remodel, it was not remodeled. So there have been little things that have been done year to year, but.
And it is by far and away our most heavily used bathroom. You know, it's an ideal location, you know, anytime kids are, so all the kids use it, it gets used a lot. So, really pleased about that piece. So, thank you for your support on that.
Thanks for going first. Thanks for providing us. It's very good to hear the information, I believe. Who's next?
I'll go next so that I can just say ditto to what Dale said, and I won't repeat some of that. So I have some different highlights to share, but definitely second everything that he said with the maintenance staff and the improvements and things. I'll just say the biggest improvements for our building that I'm just loving is the new playground and the blacktop out there, and the bus parking, the new bus parking area in the front of the school. I think things are going really well and very smoothly with all of that at drop-off and pickup, and so the outdoor, some of the outdoor stuff that we have done it's just been really great. I said it's been fun to watch even this summer after it was done, those couple weeks before school started, all the kids, or even after school hours, all the kids that are riding their skateboards and their scooters and stuff on the new cement because they aren't hitting rocks. So yeah, it looks awesome and wonderful, and we had some new grass planted, and that grass is starting to come in nicely, so hopefully that'll be well seeded and growing so that we can play in that space. And the kids have actually done a very nice job of staying off of it. I was worried that the balls would go flying into it too much and they'd end up tracking through it, but it's really, they've done a nice job out there with the kids, and you know, and just having it marked off. So so that's great things for outside. I didn't put that in my report because I thought of it later, but anyway. This year so far is off to a great start. I said in my report we have 237 students currently, which is 15 students higher than we ended the year last year. I know our numbers fluctuate up and down a little bit, but I'm super excited. I pay attention to those numbers. I want more kids coming into my building every year, and so I was excited about that, to see that our numbers are up. In service, as well as Dale had said on some of that, with all this, with the EAs being there, I know I have quite a few EAs in my building, and they just totally appreciate that extra time, and they just feel a lot more confident coming in, especially dealing with some of those higher need students, that they know what they're going to be doing and how to handle those students, and getting some of that information before the school year starts, rather than just showing up on the morning of, like it's been done in the past, and just expecting to jump right in. So having that transition meetings was great for them. I took our staff out into the community over in service, and we took a couple of tours. We went to the Black Earth Historical Society Depot Museum, and we went to the Black Earth Children's Museum, because when I actually asked my staff, I had it planned beforehand, but when I asked before we went how many had gone, and I would say probably only like 5 or 6 out of the 40 that I took with me. And so I thought that was great, because especially the Children's Museum and the Historical Society, it's good to know what we have to offer.
But it's the Children's Museum, I mean, we're the ones working with all those kids and that population and sharing with parents when they're looking for other opportunities, either in the enrichment in a museum type setting or even in a play type setting in a learning environment with the Children's Museum. So I thought it was great to get them out into the community and show and share what we have to offer in Black Earth within walking distance of the school. And so I'm having a staff meeting on this Wednesday, and we're going to talk about which grade levels might like to take the field trip to those 2 different locations. So I'm looking forward to that. And just trying to get our students out into the public library, you know, and just getting them exposed to the different things that we have to offer within the community. So I'm trying to get us out a little bit more and be seen, and of course following safe procedures when walking anywhere. And you know, we'll work on those things, but hoping to get some more community involvement and us out in the community a little bit more. And then we kicked off our year with a special rock star assembly. So we had some of our staff come in as rock stars, and we're focusing on 19 greatnesses through the Nurtured Heart program that some of our trainers went to. So in our building I have a couple of them, and so we're going to be stressing this 19 greatnesses. The first one is respect right now that we're dealing with, and then friendliness will be the second half of the month. And what we're doing is, as we stress those, we're going to paint rocks, and so respect and friendliness are both red, so we're going to create red rocks, and then we'll have creating a rock garden, a garden of greatness is what we're creating. And so we made that Elda Leopold bench, so we're kind of looking at outside and how to kind of set it up. I know they were worried in the winter time with the snow and stuff, so I'm still working on, I kind of have an idea outside where I'd like to do it, and then have the bench maybe be a part of that, a buddy bench be a part of that. And so it's inside the foyer right now, because I know with all the construction that was going to be happening, it's safer inside. But that'll go outside. I'm hoping to make that as a part of the rock garden as well. So we've got some ideas floating around and trying to figure it out, but the kids did a chant to each of the 19 words, which I had to laugh because I don't think the littlest ones really even knew what determination and some of those words were that we were making them chant, but they will know by the end of the year. So their vocabulary will grow by the end of the year no matter what. At least 19 words worth. We're super excited about that. And then I just saw from the Kindness Rock activity that's happening in the community, I just got an email on that. So I'm like, oh, this fits in perfectly. So I'm going to try to figure out how we can implement that. I've got to read over the details a little more carefully and see how we can put those together. Because I was like, oh, kindness rocks, rock garden, like greatness, so, and similar words. So I was just like, and apparently I heard though that this kind of came to be because of the Nurtured Heart and the words of greatness and stuff. So what an awesome tie-in. So I'm hoping to figure out a way to tie that in, probably figure that out here in the next day or so. Getting that in there. And then I just said it's always awesome because everyone's the youngest kids are starting school for the very first time, so they're coming in, and some of the parents are starting school for the very first time, and so it was really really fun to see the 3- and 4-year-olds coming in. And yeah, the first year there was a bit more tears on the parents' part too, kids. But by the second day, I was really impressed at how easily they transitioned in, and they came in and they were learning the routine, and parents and students both. And so it's really cool. And then our second graders are really stepping up this year, and they've been showing a lot more responsible, respectful behaviors. And so we're really optimistic. And I talked to them about being the role models, and they have to watch out for the youngest kids. And so we stress that a lot. And so we're looking forward to having them be the oldest members of our school community and our building, and being those role models for those younger kids. So those are some great things we've had so far. It's only been, 5 days now. I said just coming up, one of the things to look forward to is Mike and our magazine sales. Mike will be coming back and doing a special assembly. And last year was all about emojis. This year's about chickens, and they're gonna fly the coop. And so we've got some cool things planned. I'm super excited about the chickens. I haven't put them on my chain yet. I still have my emoji from last year, but I've got some chickens to put on here, and I'm super excited. But I want to wait until it gets closer, otherwise I'll have to answer 100 questions about what those chickens are for. But yeah, this year they're talking about flying the coop, and so I'm excited about that assembly coming up, and that'll be our first monthly PBIS assembly. We'll tie the two together and kind of do a little dual thing there. But yeah, so off to a great start, and everyone seems to be transitioning. I was a little worried today, because kids start to figure out that school's not going away anymore, that it's not so much like a fun vacation anymore, I gotta go back. But today went really well. So kudos to all the staff and the teachers and helping those kids really feel comfortable and confident and a part of the classroom community already, even in 5 days of school. So I'm very impressed with the staff too, and their role in helping make that transition happen for those kids. I talked fast, but I know we don't want to be here all night. So, all right.
Is that,
any questions? Sorry.
I have one.
Sure.
Has that salt shed construction been any issues?
Actually, it hasn't. I mean, even with me working different hours and coming and going and out of the parking lot, they haven't blocked it off or anything. And now it's actually looking fairly nice, and they've now, smoothed out some of the ground and stuff around there. But I haven't noticed any problems with the back parking lot and getting in and out, or having it closed off at all. At least no one's, I've been able to get in and out different times. I haven't heard any staff say anything. But yeah, that seems to be going up pretty quickly, and at least now the ground around it looks nice. But, yeah. Any other one? Should have asked. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And last but certainly not least, right?
They're just saving the newbie for that at the end, which is good because I tried to keep my really brief and then realized after the fact there's a ton more going on than what I put in there. So I've been taking extra notes, so brace yourself. Here we go. We started off, everything has been very enthusiastic, a lot of hard work going on in the building. Right off the bat in the in-service, it was a great time for me and the staff to start to get to know each other, which was fantastic. They got to feel a little bit of my personality, and they were trying to feel out at that point, is he serious all the time? Is he silly? What's his deal? But it was a great chance for us to start to get to know each other and build that relationship. I've said from day one, I'm very much about relationships, and that was the key right there. That was our kickoff. Probably the biggest thing we did during our in-service is we started working, we went through a very cohesive process here of building a staff shared vision of what the experience should look like at the high school. It started with individuals coming up with their ideas of what exactly they thought were things that they really wanted students to be able to leave with by the time they were done. And then we just kept taking this and filtering it down into more groups and more groups. Eventually got to the point of having 8 ideas, and then got to the point of voting on a final one. And I would love to share with you what the group eventually came up with. It took about a week, but what we came up with for this year is the Wisconsin Heights High School and Middle School is a safe, inclusive, and respectful environment where students learn collaborative and cognitive skills that lead to superior decision-making and job skills that make them productive citizens. So that's where we're starting. That's our vision. One of the big steps that we're going to be taking from here on out is how to take vision and turn it into action. We want to have a vision so we always know what we're going towards. Just today, released a survey to staff and to students, because I want them in on this as well, listing some of the key points that were in this, and ask them, what does this key point look like? What is the action that goes with this? To try to give students a voice and give staff a voice so we can figure out, okay, great, we've got this beautiful vision statement, but what are the things we're going to actually do to try to get ourselves there? So baby steps that we're taking, but trying to get everybody involved in the process so that every decision we make comes back to this vision so that we always know what's the purpose of what we're doing. So very, very proud of this. Long way to go, but a great, great start. A big part of what I've been doing is walking the hallways, visiting classrooms, just trying to get a feel for what's the Wisconsin Heights way at this point. Surveyed staff as soon as I was hired, and a big piece that came out from them was they want me to watch first and just see what goes on. Why do they make the choices they make? What's the reasoning behind what they do? So I've been trying to get out, talk with a lot of kids, talk with a lot of students, poke my head in, take some pictures, throw them up on social media, everything I can do just to reach out and just to get to know people a little bit better and where we're coming from. And that part's been fantastic. It was great once I got to start chatting with kids in particular, reaching out to certain individuals in some cases, and others just starting to gravitate, just like what happens with kids, and that's pretty energizing and exciting. So I've been enjoying that. Let's see here. In terms of some of the other work that we've been doing, going along with the district, our school improvement plan. Ours started off as a middle school, high school goal revolving around vocabulary, trying to improve vocabulary. One of the challenges we ran into in one of our previous meetings is we were starting to try to work towards a SMART goal, is the data we have for middle school is different than the data we have for high school. So we're actually going to eventually write up 2 SMART goals, both along the lines of vocabulary, but one side will use ACT scores, a component of the ACTs, and then the other one will use the vocabulary piece from MAP. So that we're really trying to use numbers that are going to really guide us and help us see what our growth is. So we are working on that. Academic and career planning, we're getting into that, a new round of that. The biggest challenge we're going to have with that right now is just making sure that staff have the resources and training that they need in order to run our career cruiser software in order to help students. I'm sure the students are going to do great and staff will do great. We just want to get our bearings, and we'll be good to go with that. Sustained silent reading is something that's new this year. Had a great collaborative session with all the teachers who are putting that together. Because it's brand new, there was no vision. There was a vision, but there wasn't really a plan as to what it was going to be. So had a great session with the staff. They did a great job of coming up with what is it, but what is it not? And what are the different components that we're going to use, and just trying to kind of come to some sort of consensus as to what this is going to look like, but also giving them the autonomy to make some choices on their own as well. We also worked hard at actually challenging staff, and they came up with a rubric, 1, 2, 3, or 4, so we could use that as some sort of assessment tool. The only requirement that I gave them on this was, much like I wanted action steps for our vision, I also wanted action pieces in there. So I wanted to know, what is it that the student is doing in order to achieve a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4? Not as what are they not doing? So what I'm really trying to get us to look at is, what's the achievement piece as opposed to a behavioral piece? So we can really look at how are we growing rather than some other pieces that may come into place. Finally, homecoming is planning. It's underway. It's going to be here before we know it. It's the week of October 2nd through the 7th. I am extremely grateful to Asta for all the great notes that she kept on this, because I've basically taken them, thrown them into a Google Doc, shared them out with staff. Staff are giving tremendous feedback and insight as to reasons we've done things that we've done. They're throwing ideas out. It's been a wonderful collaborative process. Exciting for me going through it for the first time as well. So a lot to be excited about. I do believe our parade is in Black Earth this year. That'll be on Friday. And my understanding is we have a football game, an actual football game on Friday night. So that'll be exciting as well. And then we'll have the big dance on Saturday night. So that's how things are looking right now at the middle school and high school. What questions do you have?
I just want to say kudos on your visibility. One of the young men who works with me at base camp said he was at our cross-country meet Saturday. Yeah, I saw the picture, so very nice. They appreciated that.
You're really doing a lot with like Twitter. I saw it on Twitter, but I saw it on Facebook. Could you send us, or at least I would like it, your vision that you created?
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
great. If you could just get that, I didn't write it down fast enough.
Sure.
I wrote it. Thank you. That's very neat. I'm glad that they did that. That's very
I did happen to see you at the parade yesterday.
You what, sir?
Saw you at the parade.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You might have been there, I just didn't see you. I saw Chris. I was pulling the WISY float.
Oh, okay, okay.
Our local radio station.
Gotcha.
Nobody
gotcha.
knows. Did you know we have a local?
I did not know that, actually. That was, there's a lot of familiar floats that are in that one, and I just want to point out my son was actually on one of them. He was on the Cripple Creek Cloggers one. He was the one little boy that was out there. Yeah. So I was there for dual reasons. One, to take a lot of pictures of the Heights kids, but for that as well. But there were some new ones as well, and that was certainly one that I had not seen before.
But we had run out of beads by then. So
I was wondering where my beads were. I was concerned. But since I didn't get beads, I do want a bathroom upgrade within 60 years. That'll be good off for you. If we can make that happen, I think we're good to go.
I think that's on the 20-year plan.
20-year plan? Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
So, perfect segue, actually. Things have a way of working out. I guess I want to, before I jump into anything else, number one, thank this crew for being the leaders of Trailblazers. But then the other thing I just want to mention to the board, obviously the purpose for this, we've talked about it multiple times. I've shared it with the admin team. Hopefully they believe me. Because the purpose of this is to just inroads into good, positive communication, better awareness. When someone asks you a question on the street, you're like, oh yeah, this guy told me. I heard about that stuff, and that just to me fosters just better relationships, public relations, things like that. That being said, I guess, given that the bar has raised a bit with what their visibility will be and their responsibility to these meetings, out of respect for our administrative team, I would like to run it by the board. My preference would be, and what I would kind of recommend moving forward, is that when they're here to present, they're here. And unless they're here to present, unless an instance like Rich tonight where he had a vested interest in listening, we don't request their presence to be here at that other board meeting. Between evening events, trying to have a real life, and everything else, I would just like to do that for their behalf. So if the board's okay with that, that'll be our procedure. Different than policy. I've said that lately a few times. Procedures.
Yeah, and
So-
the other part that we kind of talked about is, our meetings have been very short. Like tonight, we have one actual action item, so for them to come for 20 minutes, it's a lot for them to have all day, and then to come for the board meeting, so that was my thought, and if anybody feels different.
Having sat in that seat,
You're appreciative.
yeah, I would say go for it, because there's so many better things to do.
Good. So I think that's important, number one, because we do want them to be here to share like they did tonight. That was a great way to get us started. But at the second point, I don't feel like telling them they have to come here a second time unless we need them for something. Just respect time. So, all right.
Perfect.
There we go.
Thank
So it's
you.
going to be moving forward. Yeah, a couple things from my perspective. In service, I tend to, or at least try to, probably even look through a pretty positive lens on everything. But I feel like the activities that we did as a district, because those were the ones that I was directly involved in, I thought those activities went well. I thought we helped kind of shape, but in a not in an overbearing sense. We helped shape what it is we're kind of collectively coming together and trying to do, and kind of our core tenets, so to speak. The underlying premise of a vision eventually, three things that I brought up multiple times: trying to establish a collaborative culture, respecting each other, and then our absolute non-negotiable is we're going to do what's best for kids. And I think those things came through in multiple instances, and kind of it was nice to be able to weave that into the message that we had with our staff. And I guess overall, I felt like those couple of district-wide things that we did went quite well, and kind of helped us get off to a positive start to the school year. So that was nice. It really was. And actually, it was enjoyable, to be perfectly honest. So it was just nice. You get back to the school year though, and kids show up, and if you're in education because you enjoy kids, it's pretty cool to now suddenly see hundreds of students navigating hallways, to see the buses at Black Earth the first day. I had that on my calendar. It was like not because my kids were there even, but because like I need to see this the first day at a PK2 school, and it was just neat to see. And I thought it was pretty slick with the whole procedural end, but then it was just cool to see those little kids and the excitement and the pictures outside the sign. Yes, Barb was one of them. But,
Yes. As she was charging for the door, get back here, I need a picture. I know you're excited.
So it's just little stuff like that that's cool to see. And then even now too, I mean, I popped into the cafeteria a couple times, but today I popped in there, and pretty soon Chris and I are just watching kids eat lunch and talking for an hour. Just stuff like that you don't have that opportunity when the kids aren't here, and we never take for granted when you truly care about kids and just the little things and whatever. So it's been fun to see that too though, because now it's real, and it's why we're here. So that's been good to see as well. Trying hard to get into the buildings. I popped into Mazo, popped into Black Earth. Obviously I'm here all the time, and have talked to Dale and Deb about being a weekly goal of mine is to show face, to walk around, to greet, to just be visible at their buildings as well, because they need that support just as much as the gentlemen needed here and the kids needed here. Bob Butler, so I know everyone here is extremely excited because we'll be back here a week from now to to meet with Bob Butler. But, so we talked, we went through his presentation, talked about some details, and we are looking at about, depending how engaged we are, so he takes us for what you want it to be, what you want to get out of this event. I mean, he has a lot that he can share. Bob's a wealth of information, so I mean, if we wanted this to be a marathon, it certainly could. I told him, let's shoot for 2 hours of productivity, and then to gauge the crowd. If the crowd is still engaged and working, we can trudge ahead. If not, he knows. So, but we had a very good meeting. He's got a lot of information. The biggest challenge would probably be digesting and understanding everything that Bob's talking about. But I think that'll be a good event for all of us. So yes, next Monday, 5:30 start in the People Services room next door. And, a couple last things. Policy review started last week, so I got my first 3.5 hour session. So just so you know how it works, about 4 or 5 days before I met with Steve from Neola, he sent me the 2 sections of policy. I don't know how many pages, probably 75, maybe 100 pages of policy. And then just said, in anticipation for my arrival, go through this. So I sat down with my legal pad and took a page or 2 of notes, just on things that I needed clarification on, or that I thought was maybe slightly different than what we had presently. And then we sat in our conference room in the district office, pulled up the policies up on the wall, and literally started at the first one and went policy by policy. And he said, here's legally what you have to have. Here's what you presently have. Do we take ours? Do we take yours? Do we go down the middle? What do we do? So we did that for 3.5 hours. But we got through almost the first 2 sections. So very productive. He said, well, this helps that you've done this before, so you know what to expect. So that was good. But we're started, kind of the plan is we're going to try to do that type of thing at least once a month. So we have a date for October 11th. It's on the calendar, another 3.5 hour session to do the same thing.
How many sections are there?
Oh, there will end up being about 10 of these sections, so depending how quick we can get through them, 5 or 6 meetings I would anticipate where we sit down face to face like this. And go through. At some point, I've told the admin team I will be having to ask them questions, because if we're talking specifically about curriculum or assessment or athletics, co-curriculars, well, I'm not going to pretend like I have all of those answers, so at some point I'll need to tap into their expertise and find out some history and their perspective on what we're going to do moving forward. So I guess from a board standpoint, to wrap this up, from a board standpoint, really what you can expect is that'll continue, and then once we have chunks of these that after we've gone through and kind of made changes or updated, he will send them to me, and then I will share them with you for like a first reading to look at. You'll give it a look, say it looks good, we'll hold on to them then until the end, and then we will update the whole thing at once, and we'll flip the switch on whatever that magic day is, and we'll have a second reading and everything will be updated. So, any questions relative to any of the meetings? I got a lot of them in there, or anything else that you're wondering about right now?
I've gotten a lot of feedback actually that people like that, just as far as transparency and kind of, hey, he's not hiding anything. There's just, you know, kind of one piece that hasn't been there that people kind of appreciate.
All right, thank you. That's all I
Awesome,
have.
perfect. No committee reports. So moving on to 5.1. Do I have an action to hire Bruce Bradley as the drama assistant director for the musical coming up for the 17-18 school year with a stipend of $1,200?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim and James. Any discussion? Hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Barb? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Beth? Yes. Mary Beth?
Yes.
I will say yes as well. Do we need any other committee meetings? I think our board meetings are pretty well set. Future dates are stated. All right. Do I have a motion motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, for the consideration of employment, promotion, compensation, or performance, evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. When the executive session ends, the school board meeting is adjourned. Thank you, James. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bev. Jim?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Bev, Barb? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Bev? Yes. Mary Beth? I'll say yes as well. Thank you, everybody. I know, I think it's a really good time and all that.
No, I think it's, there was more than
That stuff.
I apologize, I thought we were gonna have the public session around now, so I had time with my
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
I had time with my grandkids on Monday nights, and I thought, oh, if I looked at the agenda, that'll be about an hour.
Oh, yeah, we're first. We're quick, we're first.
Yeah, you could tell us, Peter. If you,
Well, I'll make it short, because you're on your way to well, I'm a resident of the district, I'm also a member of Vermont Lutheran Church, and their church council president this year, so I came to say that we're a little confused, a little dismayed about the decision to have the, I'm gonna call what I've heard to be voluntary practices on Wednesday nights, and how that affects us. And I know that we've always considered ourselves in UCAS to be partners in developing the young kids, and we want to have as many opportunities and for them to explore their gifts and talents, and confirmation for us is important. The practices the kids think are important, you think they're important. These are middle school kids. They're not competing for the Olympics. We have confirmation from 3:30 to 5 so that they can get home, have hopefully a family dinner, decompress, do their homework, come back ready to work on Thursday morning. And that apparently isn't going to happen, because a lot of the kids are going to feel a great deal of peer pressure to go to practice. If it isn't important that they be there, then what are they going to learn when they're there? Because if they are there, they're going to learn something. So the kids that aren't there are going to feel like, well, I'm going to fall behind. Their peers are going to say, well, why aren't you in practice? We've heard that the coaches aren't going to hold it against them, which they shouldn't. But it's still going to be who's the best players when they do play a game. So that's why we're a little dismayed. We can change our confirmation schedule to later that night or a Saturday, but why? What's the need? What's the want? What's the advantage for the kids? What's the advantage for the community? So that's all that I wanted to make sure, is that we understood each other and come to the best decision for the kids. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.